California, with its vast landscapes and rich history, is home to some of the most chilling and mysterious urban legends in the United States. From eerie creatures lurking in remote lakes to restless spirits haunting iconic landmarks, the state's folklore is filled with strange tales that blur the lines between myth and reality. These legends, passed down through generations, reflect the deep cultural roots and eerie events that have shaped California's identity. Whether you're a skeptic or a true believer, the eerie stories of California's urban legends continue to captivate and unsettle, offering a glimpse into the state's mysterious and haunted past. 1. The Monster of Lake Elizabeth. The Monster of Lake Elizabeth is a gripping urban legend that has captured the imagination of locals and visitors alike in Southern California, specifically centered around Lake Elizabeth, a man-made reservoir nestled within the foothills of the San Gabriel Mountains in the city of Palmdale. Known for its scenic beauty and recreational opportunities, Lake Elizabeth is also shrouded in mystery, with an eerie legend surrounding it, the legend of a monstrous creature said to lurk beneath its murky waters. The legend of the Monster of Lake Elizabeth is a blend of folklore, unverified sightings, and local superstition. It has persisted for decades, evolving with each retelling. The creature is rumored to be a cryptid, a mysterious, unknown animal whose existence has yet to be proven by science. While there is no verifiable proof of the monster's existence, the eerie atmosphere of the lake, combined with bizarre occurrences and local tales, has kept the legend alive. Lake Elizabeth was created in the early 1900s as part of a system designed to store water for irrigation purposes. The reservoir, though not large, became an ideal spot for fishing, boating, and camping. However, from the beginning, the lake was surrounded by an air of mystery. With its isolated location in the mountains, fog frequently rolls across the water, creating an unsettling atmosphere, especially during the early morning hours. These environmental conditions, combined with the lake's stillness and deep, dark waters, set the stage for something supernatural. The earliest stories of the Lake Elizabeth monster began in the 1970s, when reports of unusual sightings and disturbances near the lake started to circulate. It was said that individuals who ventured near the water would sometimes witness strange movements in the depths, hear inexplicable noises, or see unidentifiable shapes in the fog. What set these sightings apart from ordinary encounters was the consistent theme of an unseen creature lurking in the lake, a presence that seemed to defy explanation. The rumors spread quickly, and soon, the area surrounding Lake Elizabeth was known for its association with this mysterious, unnamed monster. While the details of the monster vary from account to account, several key features are common to most of the sightings. The creature is most frequently described as a giant, serpent-like entity that swims through the water with swift and graceful movements. Its size is often exaggerated, with some witnesses claiming it is as long as 50 feet or more, though most estimates suggest it is likely much smaller. Despite its size, the creature is said to be incredibly elusive, slipping back into the depths of the lake at the slightest disturbance. The creature's physical appearance is often described as reptilian or amphibious, with scaly skin that glistens when illuminated by light. Some witnesses describe it as snake-like, with a long, undulating body that is capable of making ripples across the water's surface. Others suggest that the creature might have features resembling an alligator or prehistoric amphibians, a throwback to the days of the dinosaurs. Regardless of the exact nature of the creature, it is generally accepted in the legend that it possesses sharp teeth, capable of inflicting harm on anyone who dares to venture too close. One of the most striking and eerie features of the monster is its glowing eyes, which are often said to shine in the dark, particularly when seen from a distance or through a thick layer of fog. These eyes are described as red or yellow, and they are frequently reported to appear suddenly from the murky water, glowing ominously in the darkness. The eyes are said to evoke a feeling of dread, with many witnesses claiming that simply staring into them induces an overwhelming sense of fear. In some versions of the legend, the creature is said to have the ability to move both in and out of the water, making it all the more frightening. In these accounts, the monster can allegedly emerge from the lake at night, moving along the shoreline with ease, though it is most commonly associated with the water itself. While no physical evidence has ever been found to substantiate the existence of the Lake Elizabeth monster, numerous unverified sightings continue to contribute to the legend. These encounters typically follow a similar narrative: a person or group of people visit the lake for fishing, camping, or hiking and encounter something unsettling. The most frequently reported events involve disturbances in the water, waves or splashes caused by an unseen force. Often, these disturbances happen without explanation, and the eyewitnesses are left in awe or fear, unsure of what they have witnessed. One of the most notable sightings occurred in the early 1980s when a family camping near the lake reported seeing an enormous shape rise from the water. The family described a long, serpentine body that seemed to move with incredible speed, cutting through the lake's surface. They also reported seeing glowing eyes, though the creature disappeared before they could get a clearer view. Another incident involved a group of fishermen who claimed to have seen large ripples on the water's surface, followed by a loud splash. The fishermen insisted they had seen something moving beneath the water, but their attempts to capture any photographic evidence were unsuccessful. Perhaps one of the more disturbing encounters came from a hiker who wandered too close to the water's edge at dusk. The hiker reported feeling an eerie sensation as they approached the shore, with the air becoming unnaturally still. Suddenly, they heard a low growl coming from the water and claimed to have seen a shadowy shape moving in the mist. Though the hiker fled in terror, they were convinced that the noise and shape they encountered were not simply the result of a trick of the light or the wind. Over the years, numerous theories have been proposed to explain the disturbances at Lake Elizabeth and the sightings of its alleged monster. These theories range from plausible to highly speculative. Cryptozoological theories. One of the most persistent explanations is the belief that the creature is an undiscovered cryptid, a species that has somehow managed to evade scientific discovery. Proponents of this theory suggest that the creature might be an ancient marine reptile or a prehistoric amphibian that somehow survived in the depths of the lake. Cryptozoologists have long been fascinated by such creatures, drawing comparisons to the Loch Ness Monster in Scotland, which is believed by some to be a surviving relic from the Mesozoic era. Large fish or aquatic life. A more grounded explanation suggests that the sightings of the Lake Elizabeth monster could be the result of unusually large fish, such as catfish or sturgeon, that grow to an enormous size. These fish, when disturbed or swimming near the surface, could create ripples or splashes that seem larger and more ominous than they really are. Some reports also suggest that the creature might be a giant eel, which could appear strange and unsettling in the murky waters of the lake. Psychological and optical factors. Skeptics of the legend argue that the Lake Elizabeth monster is simply a product of folklore, amplified by the power of suggestion. In the right conditions, such as foggy mornings, low light, and the mind's tendency to fill in gaps, ordinary sights and sounds might be misinterpreted as supernatural phenomena. The mist and reflections on the water can create illusions, and the mind can easily conjure up terrifying creatures where none exist. Environmental or geological factors. Another theory suggests that the disturbances in the water could be explained by geological or environmental factors. Lake Elizabeth has several underwater springs and irregularities in its bed that could cause unusual water movements. Additionally, the lake's shallow waters and proximity to gas pockets might result in sudden bubbles or other phenomena that could be misinterpreted as the actions of a large creature. Cultural impact and enduring mystery. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, the monster of Lake Elizabeth has become a staple of local folklore. It is a story passed down through generations, often told around campfires or whispered among locals. The legend contributes to the mystique of Lake Elizabeth, attracting visitors who are drawn to the idea of encountering the creature or at least witnessing the strange disturbances that fuel the tale. The lake has become a point of curiosity for cryptid hunters, thrill seekers, and mystery enthusiasts alike. The legend has also permeated local culture, inspiring articles, documentaries, and even small local ghost tours. The monster of Lake Elizabeth continues to be an enigma, remaining a part of the collective memory of the region. It serves as a reminder of the way legends can persist and evolve, with each generation contributing new layers to the story. The monster of Lake Elizabeth is a fascinating and enduring urban legend that blends elements of mystery, fear, and folklore. While no evidence has ever been found to verify its existence, the countless stories and sightings keep the legend alive. Whether it's a cryptid from the depths, a large fish, or simply a figment of the imagination, the legend of the Lake Elizabeth monster remains one of California's most chilling and enduring tales, continuing to capture the imagination of all who hear it. 2. The Hauntings of Turnbull Canyon. Turnbull Canyon, located in the San Gabriel Valley of Southern California, is infamous for its eerie reputation, earning a place in the region's folklore as one of the most haunted and mysterious locations in California. Its rugged terrain, winding trails, and dense vegetation have attracted not only hikers and nature lovers but also those intrigued by its dark history and the urban legends that persist about paranormal activity. The canyon's history, paired with numerous ghost stories and inexplicable occurrences, creates an atmosphere that is both fascinating and unsettling. Historical background of Turnbull Canyon. Before Spanish settlers arrived, the San Gabriel Valley, including the area now known as Turnbull Canyon, was inhabited by the Tongva people, also known as the Gabrielino. The Tongva were known for their deep connection to the land, and they believed that certain places in the valley, including the canyon, were sacred. In their worldview, Turnbull Canyon was a spiritual site where the boundary between the physical world and the spirit realm was thin. It was a place where the living could communicate with the spirits, and it was believed that wandering too deeply into the canyon could lead to encounters with restless souls. The Tongva's connection to the canyon laid the groundwork for the later ghost stories, which would become integral to its modern-day mythos. The energy of the land, steeped in spirituality and mystery, would provide fertile ground for the ghost stories and paranormal rumors that followed. In the 18th century, the Spanish arrived in California and established the mission San Gabriel Arcangel, which was located nearby. The area, including what would later become Turnbull Canyon, was largely ignored by Spanish settlers due to its rough terrain and dense, hard-to-navigate foliage. However, as settlers gradually moved west, rumors began to surface about strange occurrences near the canyon. These early rumors were vague but contributed to the area's growing reputation as a place where something unusual could happen. These rumors persisted and intensified over time as more stories of bizarre incidents and paranormal experiences emerged. In the late 1800s, a family named the Turnbulls arrived in the San Gabriel Valley. They settled in what is now Turnbull Canyon, purchasing a large tract of land where they established a ranch and began farming. The Turnbull family's presence in the area, combined with their encounters with misfortune and tragedy, would be a catalyst for many of the ghost stories that would later arise. According to some versions of the legend, the Turnbull family experienced a series of misfortunes that contributed to the growing sense of unease surrounding the canyon. The most prominent of these events was the alleged murder of a family member, which many believed to be linked to a family curse. While the exact details of the murder remain unclear, some accounts suggest that the crime went unsolved, and this lack of resolution is believed to have led to the family's downfall. The family's tragic fate added weight to the belief that Turnbull Canyon was cursed, and this curse, in turn, was said to bind the spirits of the Turnbulls to the area, keeping them there long after death. The ghostly legends of Turnbull Canyon. One of the most well-known figures associated with Turnbull Canyon is the Hanged Man, a ghostly apparition that has become the central figure in the canyon's haunting legends. According to local lore, the Hanged Man is the spirit of a man who was hanged in the canyon by unknown assailants. His body is said to swing from a tree, and he is often seen at certain times of the day or night, hanging in the shadows. Witnesses who have reported seeing the Hanged Man describe a figure dressed in old-fashioned clothes, suspended by a noose. Some claim that the figure's face is obscured, while others say the ghost's hollow eyes seem to follow those who encounter him. The identity of the Hanged Man varies depending on who tells the story. Some versions suggest he was a Turnbull family member who met a violent end, while others say he was an innocent victim of a wrongful execution. The constant thread in all versions of the tale is the sense of dread and fear that accompanies the apparition, with those who see him often feeling an overwhelming presence of malevolence and sorrow. The legend of the Hanged Man serves as a reminder of the canyon's tragic history, linking the idea of a violent death to the lasting influence of a cursed land. Turnbull Canyon has long been rumored to have been the site of satanic rituals and occult activities. In the mid-20th century, whispers began to circulate about strange symbols and ritualistic items found in the canyon, such as candles, animal bones, and mysterious drawings etched into the earth. Some hikers and curious adventurers claimed to have stumbled upon what appeared to be abandoned altars, where it was believed that cults conducted their ceremonies in secrecy. Though no official evidence has ever been found to support these claims, the idea that Turnbull Canyon was a gathering place for occult groups added a sinister dimension to its reputation. These groups, it is said, chose the canyon for its remoteness and natural seclusion, allowing them to practice their rituals without interference. Some stories also suggest that these rituals might have been responsible for opening a portal to the supernatural, inviting malevolent spirits into the canyon. As the legend goes, these ritualistic gatherings were not limited to just a few individuals but were part of a larger, hidden network of cults that saw Turnbull Canyon as a spiritual hotspot where they could commune with darker forces. Perhaps one of the darkest and most chilling stories associated with Turnbull Canyon involves the so-called Turnbull Canyon Asylum. Some accounts suggest that, in the early 20th century, a psychiatric institution was built deep within the canyon, hidden from the public eye. According to this version of the legend, the asylum was an overcrowded, poorly managed facility where the mentally ill were sent to be forgotten. The patients, abandoned and neglected, are said to have wandered the canyon after escaping or perishing in the facility. While there is no concrete evidence to support the existence of such an asylum, the stories of patient suffering and subsequent haunting of the canyon have contributed to the belief that Turnbull Canyon is home to the restless spirits of those who died in the facility or were abandoned there. People who claim to have visited the canyon report feeling cold spots, hearing distant cries, and sometimes experiencing a sense of intense sadness, as if they were being followed by invisible figures. These eerie sensations, combined with the belief that the spirits of the asylum's patients still haunt the area, have added a layer of tragic ghostly lore to Turnbull Canyon. The Witch's Triangle and other paranormal activity. Another key element in Turnbull Canyon's reputation is the so-called Witch's Triangle, a specific area of the canyon believed to be a hotspot for paranormal activity. The Witch's Triangle is said to be a place where time seems to distort, where electrical disturbances and unexplainable phenomena frequently occur. Those who have ventured into the triangle have reported experiencing feelings of dizziness, confusion, and even moments of lost time, where hours seem to pass in an instant. Others claim to have witnessed strange lights and heard disembodied voices in the area, further reinforcing the canyon's association with supernatural occurrences. It's believed by some that the Witch's Triangle acts as a portal to another realm, where spirits and otherworldly entities can cross over. Visitors to the canyon often report an overwhelming sense of foreboding when they enter this section of the land, as though they are intruding on a place where the laws of nature do not fully apply. These accounts have only served to cement the reputation of Turnbull Canyon as a place where the supernatural is more than just a myth. The disappearances. Turnbull Canyon is also associated with a number of mysterious disappearances. Over the years, there have been reports of hikers, adventurers, and thrill-seekers who have ventured into the canyon and never returned. While some of these disappearances can likely be attributed to the canyon's treacherous terrain and dense vegetation, others remain unsolved, leaving many to speculate that the spirits of the canyon are to blame. Some believe that the disappearances are the result of people being lured deeper into the canyon by ghostly forces, never to find their way back. The idea that the canyon itself may be a kind of trap for the unwary has added an unsettling layer to its legend. Modern-day Turnbull Canyon. Today, Turnbull Canyon is a popular hiking destination, attracting locals and tourists alike. Despite its natural beauty, the canyon still carries a heavy reputation, particularly after dark. Many hikers avoid the area after sunset, believing the spirits of the past remain active in the twilight hours. Local authorities have placed warnings around the area, advising against hiking in the canyon after dark due to its difficult terrain and the dangers of getting lost. However, the lure of the supernatural and the allure of discovering its hidden mysteries continue to draw thrill seekers and those curious about the paranormal. Turnbull Canyon remains one of the most compelling and chilling urban legends in California. Whether the stories of ghostly apparitions, cult rituals, or mysterious disappearances are rooted in truth or simply exaggerated myths, they continue to captivate the imagination of those drawn to the canyon's haunting beauty. Whether one visits for the history, the beauty, or the eerie thrill of encountering something supernatural, Turnbull Canyon is a place where the past and the present collide, and where the line between the living and the dead may be thinner than anywhere else. 3. The Sign of the Hollywood Spirit. The sign of the Hollywood spirit refers to the complex intertwining of supernatural events, tragic history, and the darker side of fame associated with the Hollywood area of California. Hollywood, long celebrated as the heart of the entertainment industry, has also been a place of turmoil, loss, and mystery, giving rise to numerous ghost stories, urban legends, and paranormal tales. These legends are especially tied to iconic landmarks, such as the Hollywood Sign, the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, and the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. The idea of the Hollywood spirit embodies the spirits of those who were touched by fame, whether they achieved it, were consumed by it, or tragically never attained it. Following are some of the most significant legends and stories that make up this eerie narrative. The Hollywood Sign, more than just a landmark. The Hollywood Sign, one of the most recognizable symbols of the film industry, sits atop Mount Lee in the Hollywood Hills. While its purpose was initially a promotional tool for a real estate development project in 1923, it has become synonymous with dreams of fame and success in the movie industry. However, over time, the sign has also come to symbolize the dark side of Hollywood, the dreams that go unrealized, the lives lost in pursuit of fame, and the spirits of those who haunt the hills. The sign's association with death began early in its history. In 1932, Peg Entwistle, an actress in her early 20s, climbed to the top of the H in the sign and jumped to her death. Entwistle's suicide is often regarded as one of the most tragic events tied to the sign and Hollywood itself. It is believed that her spirit lingers in the area around the sign, a tragic reminder of how harsh the world of Hollywood can be, especially for young women seeking stardom. Since her death, numerous reports from hikers and visitors near the sign claim to have seen a ghostly figure of a woman in 1930s attire, walking around the vicinity or appearing near the area where she died. Others say they hear whispers or footsteps on the wind, with some claiming to feel an overwhelming sense of sadness in the air. The haunting of the Hollywood Sign is a symbolic reminder of the perils of fame, where the pressure to succeed can drive people to despair. It is also said that Entwistle's spirit, while not malevolent, is a manifestation of the many lost souls who came to Hollywood seeking success but ended up crushed by its demands. The ghost of Peg Entwistle, the actress who haunts Hollywood. Peg Entwistle's story is perhaps the most famous ghost story associated with the Hollywood Sign. Born in Wales, Entwistle moved to Hollywood with dreams of becoming a successful actress. After a series of disappointing experiences in the industry, including unfulfilling roles and a lack of recognition, she became increasingly despondent. Her despair peaked in 1932 when she chose to end her life by climbing to the top of the Hollywood Sign and jumping to her death. Peg's death was a turning point in Hollywood's history, not only for the tragedy it represented but also for how it highlighted the harsh realities of the entertainment industry. Today, Entwistle is said to haunt the area where she died. Those who visit the Hollywood Hills report feeling her presence, an overwhelming sense of sadness or being watched. In some instances, visitors have described seeing the figure of a woman in a vintage dress or hearing footsteps on the wind, which many believe to be the restless spirit of Entwistle. Some even claim to have heard faint cries or the echo of a woman's voice in the area. Over the years, this ghostly figure has come to represent the dark side of the Hollywood dream, the way fame can destroy lives, the fragile psyches of those chasing stardom, and the price some have paid for the pursuit of fame. Hollywood Forever Cemetery, a final resting place for the famous. The Hollywood Forever Cemetery, one of the oldest cemeteries in Los Angeles, is the burial place for many of Hollywood's most famous stars, including Rudolph Valentino, Tyrone Power, and Douglas Fairbanks. With such a rich history of the entertainment industry embedded within its grounds, it is no surprise that the cemetery has become a focal point for paranormal stories. Visitors and staff members have reported eerie experiences, from seeing figures in old-fashioned clothing to hearing whispers and voices where no one is present. In particular, the grave of Rudolph Valentino, one of the most beloved film stars of the silent era, is said to be haunted. His untimely death at the age of 31 in 1926 left fans devastated, and his spirit is believed to haunt his final resting place. People have claimed to hear strange noises near his grave, including the sound of footsteps, and some even report seeing his apparition. Valentino's ghost is not the only one said to roam the cemetery. Others claim to have seen shadows flitting between the tombstones or felt a sudden drop in temperature as they walked among the graves. Some even describe being touched or followed by an unseen presence, a reminder that the dead in Hollywood never truly leave. The Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, Spirits of the Silver Screen. The Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, one of the most iconic hotels in the area, is another site tied to Hollywood supernatural lore. Opened in 1927, the hotel is known not only for its glamorous past and historic role in hosting the first Academy Awards but also for its numerous ghost stories. Over the years, guests and employees have reported ghostly encounters, particularly in the hotel's older sections. The most famous ghost associated with the Roosevelt Hotel is that of Montgomery Clift, a Hollywood star from the 1940s and 1950s. Clift is said to haunt room 928, the room where he stayed while filming From Here to Eternity in 1953. People who have stayed in the room claim to have heard his voice, seen his reflection in mirrors, or even felt his presence. It is said that Clift's ghost is not malevolent but more of a lost soul still hanging on to Hollywood's glamour long after his death. Another ghost tied to the Roosevelt is that of Marilyn Monroe, who was famously photographed by the hotel's pool in the 1950s. Staff members and guests have claimed to see her spirit near the pool area, often as a fleeting apparition in a white dress. Her haunting seems to be a continuation of her legacy, which, much like Hollywood itself, is filled with both beauty and tragedy. The symbol of fame and spirit, the dark side of Hollywood. In a broader sense, the Hollywood spirit embodies more than just a handful of ghost stories. It represents the very essence of the entertainment industry, its ability to both elevate and destroy. The Hollywood sign, the cemetery, and the hotels are all symbols of a system that promises fame and wealth but sometimes takes a heavy toll on those who strive to attain it. The Hollywood spirit suggests that those who achieve fame may never truly be free of the industry's grasp, and for some, their spirits linger, caught between the glimmer of fame and the sorrow of unmet dreams. In Hollywood, the boundaries between the living and the dead often seem to blur. The dark histories, the suicides, the untimely deaths, and the suffering of those who once sought the glitter of the silver screen now manifest as ghostly reminders of the fragile nature of fame. Whether it's the tragic figure of Peg Entwistle or the restless spirits of Hollywood stars, these tales are deeply ingrained in the urban legends of Los Angeles and Hollywood, forever contributing to the mysterious aura that surrounds the city. In conclusion, the sign of the Hollywood spirit represents the ghostly echoes of those who were entangled in the lure of fame, success, and the devastating consequences of the Hollywood dream. It is a dark and captivating part of the city's history, where spirits of the past still seem to linger, casting a shadow over the lights of the entertainment world. 4. The Dark Watchers. The Dark Watchers are one of California's most captivating and eerie urban legends, primarily tied to the Santa Lucia Mountains, a rugged range located in central California along the Pacific coast. These shadowy, spectral figures are said to silently watch travelers, hikers, and even locals from a distance, typically appearing in the late afternoon or evening hours when the light is dimming and the landscape becomes bathed in an eerie, twilight glow. With their mysterious appearance and unsettling nature, the Dark Watchers have been a source of fascination for locals and visitors alike for centuries. The precise origin of the Dark Watchers legend is unclear, with different versions of the story circulating throughout the region. Some believe that the legend of the Dark Watchers goes back to the indigenous Chumash people, who lived along the central coast of California and the Santa Lucia Mountains. The Chumash people held the belief that the mountains and surrounding wilderness were sacred places inhabited by spirits or guardians. These spirits were thought to be protectors of the natural world, and it is possible that the Dark Watchers originated as part of this spiritual belief system, possibly seen as protectors of the land or as supernatural entities that observe human activity without direct interaction. Another theory points to the arrival of Spanish explorers in the 16th century, when the Santa Lucia Mountains were first encountered by European settlers. The sightings of shadowy, indistinct figures, perhaps misunderstood as spirits or hallucinations, may have contributed to the myth. As explorers and settlers ventured deeper into the wilderness, they would have encountered strange sights, isolated ridges, high winds, and eerie landscapes, that, combined with the cultural imagination of the time, could have fueled stories of supernatural beings, including the Dark Watchers. The Dark Watchers are almost universally described as tall, human-like figures, shrouded in dark, flowing robes and hoods. Their appearance is shadowy and indistinct, often blending seamlessly into the surrounding landscape, making them seem as though they are a natural part of the mountains themselves. Descriptions of their exact features vary, but the most consistent elements are their immense height, their cloaked figures, and the fact that their faces are always hidden from view. They are often said to appear at twilight, when the fading light casts long shadows, adding to their ghostly and ominous presence. They are typically spotted on mountain ridges, at the edges of dense forests, or high up in the hills, standing silently, watching the surrounding landscape. The idea is that the Dark Watchers remain still and distant, only appearing when someone is nearby and giving them a brief but haunting glimpse. Despite their towering presence, they are generally described as not making any attempt to interact with humans. There is no record of them speaking, moving, or showing any signs of aggression. They are simply there, silent observers in a vast, untamed wilderness. Over the years, numerous individuals, hikers, travelers, and even locals, have reported seeing the Dark Watchers. These encounters are typically described as unsettling but not directly harmful. People who claim to have seen them often report feeling a sense of being watched or followed. The figures do not engage or communicate with the witnesses, yet their presence creates a sense of foreboding and mystery. Those who have seen them often describe feeling both awe and fear, as though they are standing before something ancient and unknowable. One of the most famous accounts is that of a group of hikers who, while traveling in the Santa Lucia Mountains, claimed to have seen the figures standing atop a ridge. The hikers described the figures as tall and shadowy, with their outlines blending into the mountainside. According to the report, the figures remained still, and though they were clearly aware of the hikers' presence, they did not move, speak, or take any action. The hikers felt an overwhelming sense of unease and hurried their way down the mountain, but the figures remained, unchanging and distant. This sighting is one of many that have contributed to the ongoing mystery surrounding the Dark Watchers. There are various theories about what the Dark Watchers are, ranging from spiritual beings to more mystical or supernatural explanations. Following are some of the more common theories that have been proposed. 1. Guardians of the land. One theory is that the Dark Watchers are benevolent spirits or guardians of the land. This idea is rooted in the belief that the Santa Lucia Mountains and surrounding wilderness are sacred, and the Watchers serve as protectors of the natural world. In this interpretation, the figures are not malevolent but rather guardians of the environment who silently observe to ensure that humans do not disturb the natural balance of the area. The idea of protectors is supported by the notion that they do not harm anyone but simply watch from a distance, much like sentinels keeping watch over their domain. 2. Lost souls or ancient spirits. Another interpretation suggests that the Dark Watchers are the spirits of those who once lived in the region, perhaps the ancestors of the indigenous Chumash people or early settlers who disappeared under mysterious circumstances. According to this theory, these spirits may have been trapped in an ethereal form, doomed to roam the mountains forever, watching but never interacting with the living. The idea of ancient spirits could also explain why the Watchers appear so timeless, almost like remnants of a bygone age. 3. Interdimensional or extraterrestrial beings. In more recent years, some have proposed that the Dark Watchers could be interdimensional entities or extraterrestrial beings. This theory draws on the growing interest in paranormal and alien phenomena. The idea is that these beings might be visiting Earth from another dimension or planet, observing human activity without direct involvement. Their strange and unexplainable behavior, combined with the mystery surrounding their sightings, has led some to speculate that the Dark Watchers could be connected to unexplained phenomena, such as UFO sightings or other supernatural occurrences. 4. Psychological or hallucinatory phenomenon. A more grounded explanation is that the sightings of the Dark Watchers are the result of psychological or environmental factors. Given the remote and often desolate nature of the Santa Lucia Mountains, it's possible that people experiencing isolation, fatigue, or sensory deprivation could interpret natural features of the landscape as humanoid figures. This theory suggests that the mysterious sightings are not paranormal in nature but instead the product of the mind playing tricks in an environment that fosters feelings of unease and isolation. The Dark Watchers have been immortalized in various forms of art and literature, perhaps most famously by poet Robinson Jeffers. In his 1932 poem titled The Dark Watchers, Jeffers captured the eerie nature of these figures, describing them as tall, dark, and unapproachable. The poem reflects the mystery and sense of foreboding that the Watchers inspire, and it has contributed to the legend's endurance in California's cultural consciousness. The Dark Watchers have also inspired other works of art, including songs, films, and books. In particular, they have become a part of the larger body of folklore related to California's supernatural history, which also includes tales of ghosts, hauntings, and mysterious creatures. Despite numerous sightings and reports over the years, no definitive evidence of the Dark Watchers exists. Many consider the legends to be a fascinating piece of California's folklore, but skeptics argue that the sightings are likely due to misperception, the play of light and shadow, or the vivid imagination of those who spend time in the mountains. Regardless of their true nature, the Dark Watchers remain an enduring symbol of mystery and the unknown. As long as the Santa Lucia Mountains continue to draw adventurers, the legend of the Dark Watchers will likely live on. The figures, standing silently and observing from the shadows, remain an unsettling reminder that there are still aspects of the world, both natural and supernatural, that remain beyond our understanding. 5. The Stow Lake Ghost. The Stow Lake Ghost is one of the most well-known urban legends in California, closely tied to the eerie atmosphere of Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. The tale centers around Stow Lake, a serene and picturesque body of water surrounded by dense woods and winding paths. Yet beneath this tranquil exterior lies a deeply tragic and unsettling story of a ghost that continues to haunt the area. Over the years, the Stow Lake Ghost has become a local icon, a chilling reminder of grief and loss, and a subject of intrigue for paranormal enthusiasts and curious tourists alike. The origins of the Stow Lake Ghost are difficult to pinpoint, with several theories and variations of the story circulating over the years. The most widely known version involves a woman who lost her child in a tragic incident and, overcome with grief, either drowned in the lake or took her own life. According to one version of the legend, the woman's baby was either killed in an accident or fell into the lake and drowned. Devastated by the loss, the woman, unable to cope with the tragedy, followed her child into the water and drowned herself in the same lake, perhaps in a desperate attempt to reunite with her lost infant. In another version, the woman's child died in the lake due to illness or a tragic accident, and the woman, unable to bear the pain of losing her child, took her own life by drowning. Some versions add layers of detail, suggesting that the woman may have deliberately killed her baby before taking her own life, or that she was a grieving mother who wandered aimlessly in search of her child after the tragedy. Other renditions propose that the woman died not by her own hand but accidentally, lost in the mist and the water, and her spirit now wanders, searching for her lost child. Whatever the specifics, the common theme throughout all versions is the overwhelming sense of grief and a mother's desperate search for her child. The Stow Lake Ghost is often described as a woman dressed in white, typically in a long, flowing gown or tattered clothing. Some accounts describe her as being almost ethereal, her clothing flowing as if caught in an invisible wind, while others note her appearance as more disheveled, reflecting her emotional turmoil. She is almost always seen near the shores of the lake or walking through the nearby wooded areas. Witnesses who claim to have seen the ghost often describe her as carrying a child, either in her arms or in a spectral form, though the child is sometimes unseen, adding to the eerie nature of the encounter. Her movements are said to be slow and deliberate, as though she is forever searching for something, or someone, just beyond her reach. In some versions, she is reported to walk aimlessly along the shore, her head bent low, as though lost in sorrow. In others, she is seen standing on the bridge or near the water, staring out into the mist, her face an expression of sadness or anguish. Some witnesses claim that the ghost's figure is faint and translucent, adding to the ghostly presence, while others describe her as solid, yet still, she exudes an unnatural aura of sadness and despair. Her ghostly form seems tied to the very waters of Stow Lake, which adds a layer of mystery to her legend. Why does she return to this place over and over again? Some believe that her tragic death and the loss of her child have caused her spirit to be bound to the lake, unable to rest until her child is found. Over the years, many people have reported eerie experiences around Stow Lake, adding to the mystique of the ghost. One of the most commonly reported phenomena is the sudden appearance of a thick, unnatural mist that seems to roll over the surface of the lake, particularly during the evenings and late-night hours. This mist is sometimes described as shifting, moving in such a way that it almost appears to take the shape of a figure, resembling the outline of the ghost. Another commonly reported event is the sudden drop in temperature around the lake, which is often described as a cold, uncomfortable sensation that comes out of nowhere. Witnesses claim that the temperature can plummet sharply, even on warm days, and this drop is frequently associated with the ghostly presence. The sound of a baby crying is another frequent occurrence. People have reported hearing faint cries that seem to echo through the trees, though no child is ever found in the area. This sound often triggers a deep emotional response in those who hear it, as if the cries come from somewhere far away and yet are intensely personal, perhaps even representing the mourning of a mother who can never be consoled. Perhaps the most unsettling phenomenon involves sightings of the ghost herself. Visitors to the park have reported seeing a pale, white figure walking along the water's edge or appearing suddenly in the mist. Sometimes the ghost seems to be gazing into the distance, as if waiting for something, while at other times, she appears to be actively searching for her lost child. In some accounts, the ghost appears to approach those who wander too close, only to disappear into thin air before they can react, leaving behind a chilling sensation that lingers long after the encounter. Some people who have ventured into the area at night have claimed to see the woman's figure float or glide above the ground, moving effortlessly through the mist. On occasion, her form has been reported as fleeting, as though she is not fully of this world, her presence flickering like a candle flame, sometimes visible and sometimes not. The legend of the Stow Lake Ghost began to gain traction in the mid-20th century, and its popularity grew during the 1930s and 1940s. Local residents, tourists, and thrill-seekers all became captivated by the story, and it was often told around campfires and during gatherings. The tale became a rite of passage for young people in San Francisco, who would venture into Golden Gate Park after dark in search of the ghost, hoping to catch a glimpse or perhaps hear the ghost's mournful cries. Golden Gate Park itself, with its secluded paths, dense trees, and quiet lakes, became the perfect backdrop for such a mysterious story. The combination of the park's natural beauty and its eerily quiet atmosphere during the night contributed to the ghostly reputation of Stow Lake. As time went on, the Stow Lake Ghost became a major part of San Francisco folklore, attracting visitors from all over the world. As the tale of the Stow Lake Ghost spread, so did the number of paranormal investigations conducted at the site. Ghost hunters and researchers have visited Golden Gate Park to capture evidence of the haunting, using various tools and techniques, such as infrared cameras, EVP, electronic voice phenomena, recorders, and motion sensors. Some investigators claim to have recorded strange sounds around the lake, including what they believe are ghostly whispers or the sounds of a child crying. Photographs taken around the lake have also sparked interest, with some showing unexplained anomalies. Some pictures display strange orbs of light, others show shadowy figures near the water, while a few depict the faint outline of a woman in white, standing in the mist. While these photos are often dismissed as being the result of camera malfunctions or environmental factors, they still contribute to the legend, giving it a layer of intrigue and mystery that keeps the story alive. In modern times, the story of the Stow Lake Ghost remains one of the most famous and enduring urban legends in San Francisco. The legend is still retold by locals and tourists alike, and Golden Gate Park continues to be a popular destination for those hoping to experience the haunting for themselves. The legend of the Stow Lake Ghost has captured the imagination of countless individuals over the years. Whether believed to be the result of an unresolved tragedy or simply a piece of enduring folklore, the ghost remains one of California's most famous and enduring urban legends. It serves as a reminder of the power of grief, the pain of loss, and the deep, mysterious forces that can linger long after death. Though the ghost's existence may never be definitively proven, the tale continues to haunt the shores of Stow Lake, captivating those who visit with its spectral allure.